Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench. Once again, on the bench today I've got a customer's and friend's engine. It's a Saito FA-90T engine. Now, my buddy Chuck sent this engine to me to service and get running again. He got this in some sort of a fantastic eBay deal, and I don't even want to tell you how fantastic the eBay deal was, but it was one of those deals. He told me he got this and I was like, damn, that's the kind of deal I normally like to score. But it was, in this case, it was Chuck that scored this. So this is awesome. It's been, gosh, a lot of years, it seems like, since I've held one of these and serviced one of these, and let alone run one of these. So this engine, or this video, is really just kind of a precursor to a potential series on this engine if anybody's interested in watching. Now, so, and I say that because of the fact that when I service other people's engines, I send them a engine services and terms and agreement package or document that allows them to pick and choose the services that I do for their engine and what they're willing to pay for and stuff. Well, Chuck had already been a customer of mine, and he had sent me an engine months ago, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But anyway, so that's why I'm saying that. This engine has already been paid for. It hasn't been paid for in Federal Reserve notes or USD, but it has been paid for in a trade, which is why I'm asking if anybody's interested in seeing. Oh, wow, I just noticed this vent is plugged. This is going to be an interesting one. That's why I was asking if anybody's interested in actually watching me do a complete disassembly, cleaning, and reassembly, bearing replacement of this engine, because of the fact that this has already been paid for, and Chuck didn't say whether he wanted to see that or not. And of course, like I said, it's been paid for, so I don't have to do that. I can just do all of the servicing of this engine without video, and it's still paid for, and Chuck will still be happy. So that's the deal with this particular engine, and why I'm curious if anybody. Now, I've done these before on video. It's been a long time, so I'm sure I'm probably a little bit more adept at doing them now than I was the last time I did a 90T, 80T, or 100T. So that's neither here nor there. Now, let me just briefly talk to you about the payment and how it pertains to potentially you, the viewer of this channel. So Chuck had sent me an Enya R120 to work on many months ago. And in the course of my evaluation of that engine, it turned out that there were some parts. It had ingested a bearing at some point in its history, and that did substantial damage to several things: the connecting rod, the piston. I think the piston, maybe not, but the timing gears were missing teeth and stuff like that. So at that time, I had acquired some Enya parts for an R120. So it was just very fortuitous that I had those parts. Well, when I told Chuck that it's going to require all these parts, he was like, at the time, he was like, well, I'm not interested in spending more money on this engine. So he said, just hang on to this engine and we'll see what happens in the future. So I did. I put it in this bin and it's been sitting. Well, a while back, I don't know exactly how long it's been at least a month or two, Chuck decided to buy the remaining parts needed, and I had other parts to make this engine whole again. So, and then after that, and I'd already gone and got bearings from Boca, and I do have some stock bearings too. I have some actual Enya bearings, so I'm going to use those, but I did buy some from Boca. So after that all happened, I was doing other things and didn't get to this, and that's when he came up with this deal. He bought this engine and said, hey, can I just pay you this for the servicing of the 90T? And I was like, sure, why not? I do that quite often. So the way this might benefit you is that once I get this assembled and test run, it's going to be up for sale. I really have no desire to own an Enya R120. I've already got an Enya 120 It's not the same as the R120, but I really don't have a need for that. So this one will be up for sale, and one of the things that's going to be brand new on it, when he sent this to me, this engine actually had a Super Tiger carb on it. It's going to have all Enya parts, first of all. So it's going to have a brand new Enya air bleed carb, and of course a new rear cover, because that one, the rear cover, had some other port drilled and tapped in it. So it's going to be all stock and new. Now externally it's not the prettiest looking case, but this is going to be a very solid and functional engine. So anyway, that was the payment for working on this engine. And like I said, I don't have to videotape this stuff. I can just work on this engine, because I don't know, unless Chuck, you know, watches this and says, hey, yeah, I'd like to see that, well, then I will anyway. So I mean, he's the boss here, so I'll do what he desires, but he didn't specifically tell me as of this moment, yes, please make a video series using this engine. So that's why I'm making this engine video, this particular video, saying, hey, look, here's the latest engine for me to service, and B, that somebody else might benefit from this, because once this is completed, it's going to be up for sale. And if you're interested in owning an Enya R120 that's going to have new bearings and many new parts and will be serviceable for many, many years, just email me and we will discuss.